Senator Wallman. Senator Lautenbach, you're recognized to speak.
Apparently so. Thank you, Mr. President and members of the body. And let me say at the outset that this is a reasonable approach. This resolution makes sense, and it should go forward. We should monitor what's going on, we should investigate what's going on, and we should get answers and be able to evaluate what's going on. I hope we proceed, though, mindful of the incredible complexity of this area and the incredible difficulty in what the department has been undertaking in recent months and years. And rest assured, colleagues, I can guarantee you one thing, as sure as the sun will come up tomorrow, that we will continue to have bad outcomes. There will always be bad outcomes. This is unavoidable in this area. Think about what we're trying to do here. We're trying to step in where parents are at best failing and at worst actively hurting their children, if not outright abandoning them entirely. The state is particularly ill-suited to do this. We struggle with mail delivery on some level. We're trying to step into the role of parenting here in a lot of ways. We can't do this with what I would call perfection, or even close. Now, I'm not saying that we are close with what we have now. I am saying that what I'm hearing from the people who do this kind of work is that there hasn't been a diminution in services while this change is being implemented. Things seem to be going forward largely as they have. But this is a tough area to make policy in because we're dealing with children. And it's almost like the third rail in here to oppose anything that is billed as doing something for children. Because we all have children, we all love children. Senator Wallman just pointed out they're our most precious asset. I thought it was oil, but Norm says it's children, so I'll go with children. He's never led me astray before. But keep in mind, this is a tough area, and the toughest thing in this area is to get good information. And we can talk about how the department doesn't give good information. I would suggest to you, when you get outside of government and try to get information in this area, you encounter so many people with so many agendas, and I can sum up the agenda in 3 words: more, more, more. And we're presented with anecdotal stories and anonymous reports. There was a survey, you may remember me, or a report, a study that we paid for, I think 3 years ago. We got it a year or 2 ago. And I spent a lot of time at the mic one day trashing that last year. And there was a good reason why, because it was trash. So I trashed it. And that was a study by outside third parties that we brought into Nebraska at the cost of $250,000 to study some aspects of our juvenile system. I think we have 6,000 kids in the system, give or take. They interviewed, I think, 13 in the entire state that were part of a group that was disaffected with the juvenile system. And they discovered, mirabile visu, disaffection with the juvenile system. $250,000 down the drain for that. I'm not saying that we shouldn't do exactly what Senator Campbell is asking us to do. We certainly should. We need to know what's going on. But we need to go into this with our eyes open. We need to be skeptical. We need to be cautious. And we need to ask ourselves, what are we being told? Who is telling it to us? And what agenda may they have? Thank you, Mr. President. Was that 1 minute? What agenda they may have. Now, there are people in foster care, foster parents, who I would argue don't seem to have any sort of agenda other than taking care of children. That's admirable. I'm glad they do that. But we need to know our limits. We need to know the limits of what government can do. And again, we need to be very skeptical of the information we are getting, regardless of the source. I do applaud Senator Campbell for this. I'd like to help if I can. I'll be the skeptic on the commission or task force if that's what it takes, but I'd be happy to do it. Thank you, Mr. President. And I'll yield my time to Senator Campbell.
Thank you, Senator Lautenbach. Senator Campbell, 10 seconds. She waives her 10 seconds.
Production assistance for Inside Washington.